which I better record now.
Hi, welcome to Awaken Hidden Truth, everybody, and welcome Scott Linwell.
And welcome, Perry Bintz.
Yes.
You know,
Today,
I don't even know to this day why it is that all of so much of my work has been put on your YouTube channel instead of mine. But I think it's necessary because of the work you've done for the Thai people, the hotel meetings, the lots of radio shows. So I think it's respectful. Why shouldn't you have a co-creative part in my work this way? It doesn't have to be on my YouTube channel. Got lots of videos up there and people ignore them. They don't even know they're there. So it's interesting. I did try to monetize some of those 38 videos I have, and they're getting some of them. One of them got a couple thousand different. When it's a 237, 35,000 goes to 237, that's 2,000 people that saw it since I monetized it. But the other ones are getting one or two views. They're not really. So you monitor what works. You keep monetize what works and turn back off monetizing on those that don't, because it's a waste of time. And since I'm not spending money to monetize them, that's the best we can do. But it's so slow and so retarded to try to get people over the world aware of something at such slow rate. It really has to spend considerable money on getting those videos in front of hundreds of thousands, if even 100 million people, is going to require a lot of funds to pay YouTube or Facebook to put it in front of their subscriber base, because that's how it is done. Most people don't have that kind of money. Big corporations, car companies, people starting companies have products they're selling and can do that. Ryan Reynolds with Mint Mobile did that. It wasn't free. He was a successful movie star and then invested in this company. And I think it was recently bought by T-Mobile, and he made a couple hundred million out of that, which isn't neither there. I don't care. It does neither here nor there. More power to him. But the point is, in order to get more subscribers to his company, he had to pay YouTube, maybe Facebook too, a considerable sum to get his videos showing up in front of everybody else's, because that's how it works. I only bring this up because of the practical nature of what's involved to get people on earth who are afraid to really recover, afraid to know who they are, what they knew before they were born here. Either religious indoctrination, fear of the devil, whatever it might be, fear of governments. The most difficult task is to get people to have the courage awakened in them to reach into this work, because it's designed to benefit them, to assist them to recall what they were made to forget. And there's a process to it, what they call divine spirit, what we call the omnipresent hue, first half of the word human, the omnipresent hue expansion ray, which just means a higher intelligence, a different, more expansive intelligence moving through that omnipresent power that is out in space, that all things float in, goes through different higher dimensions all the way down to Earth. Its nature at its core is changing in a way that can help to retire the failed experiment of good and evil and replace it directly in the lower worlds with that which is neither and is supporting. What it supports is life, Atmas that run bodies, who make mistakes, who think in fear, and think in fear, make decisions based on fear, and then that's destructive. And then they start destroying themselves and each other with fear, because fear is negative. Fear is an artificially created negative emotion. It's not part of a natural emotion for human beings. And when I say human being, I don't mean the human body at all. I say the human being, a human or human being, is a spherically shaped energy. People on earth don't even know what soul looks like. They jabber and yap about it all the time, pray about it, but they don't know what it is, where it is, what it looks like, and they mistakenly think that the body they see in a mirror is who they are. It isn't now, nor will it ever be who they are. This is a phenomenally important understanding for anybody on Earth to become aware of this requires some way for them to cross paths with the hue and some way to raise their vibration so they can have the courage to step out into the unknown, trusting in their own eternal nature and in the source behind all life they pray to, in order to recover one simple thing. What is the purpose of my existence? Why do I exist? The answer is to be a trustworthy co-creator with the source behind all life is why we exist. There is no other answer. That is the answer. And I brought this to Earth and mentioned it and brought it out to the public so that it's grounded to the atmosphere of this planet through certain devices and through certain technology and through some very advanced being. Because without that energy increasing the charge that's in our oceans, people haven't got a ghost of a chance of avoiding destroying themselves on this planet as it is now. A normal world, let's call it a normal human world out in our galaxy, the oceans are actually charged with energy to where they glow about a foot above the water. Earth is depleted. Its oceans don't do that. It still has a charge in it, but it's not very much. Not what it should be. The negativity of emotions and thoughts in the atmosphere that are still there in micro voltages, running around like a radio wave, bouncing off the ionosphere, are there since the beginning of life on this planet. Everything done by people, to each other, to animals, to plants, the ecology, the water, the air, is still contained in our atmosphere. It does not go out in space. It's our responsibility. We made it this dirty, and very people that came before us. And with the help of people from out of town, from other worlds and higher realities, we have to clean this up. It's our responsibility to do that. The technology to do it, the spirituality to do it, the higher awareness to do it, is mostly located off-world on other world systems out in our galaxy. Many of them are human. Many of them are not. I'm speaking only now of the uplifting, benevolent, gracious, wondrous beings that are far more evolved in understanding of the relationship with the source behind all life than people on Earth can even imagine right now. And to them, that's normal. People on Earth can't even dream about what that is yet. It's because we want to wake up their creative imagination. Their ability to daydream is the greatest gift they will ever have. And people on Earth have no idea about this. Predominantly, most people don't have a clue. Daydreaming is simply the ability to look into the multiverse and see and know things. It does not come from the brain of a human being at all. People on Earth are taught that it comes from the brain, and the people teaching them that can't figure out how the brain could do it or where it's located in the brain, because it isn't. They're never, ever going to find the source of imagination, the ability to co-create with that energy out in space, that golden white light that looks black to humans in photographs from the Hubble telescope, is divine spirit itself. It's a living, omnipresent energy. It is not made of matter. It is not nuclear. It is not atomic. And it is infinitely bigger than all the little nucleuses of galaxies that made of matter, time and space that spin in it. It supports them. There are beings that maintain the mechanics of creation that are known as silent mentors. Very few people have ever crossed paths with them or even know what they are. And there's no reason for those beings to make themselves known to people like us. Their job isn't to elevate and enlighten a person. They're there to maintain the creation. There are other beings who are involved, like master teachers, that assist in getting people to recover who they are, to remember where they came from before they started incarnating in all these forms. Because that will never change. We're always going to be the spherical energy Atma, non-nuclear, non-atomic, structured a certain way, has layers to it, has faculties in these different layers. It has been that way since the beginning. This thing that I am, the Atma I am, has been at the source behind all life since it began. if there is such a thing as a beginning, because that source is not in the planes of time and space. And time and space aren't relative to it. So the energy that comprises this and the energy that comprises that field of energy that looks black in a Hubble telescope image of outer space, that's infinitely bigger than the little galaxies that float in it, up through the planes. That is what we are. We're made of the same energy as the source, and that energy we see out in space continues up through the different dimensions and through the different planes, all the way beyond the void known to Buddhists, all the way up into the upper realities, into what's called the ocean of sound and light. And if people are kept ignorant of this on earth, they will remain stupefied, thinking their bodies revolving around life after life, because fear drives where they go when they pass away from here. So we want to alleviate, first and foremost, in this work, we want to assist individuals to learn how to and go through the experience of dropping fear like a lead brick and never picking it up again. It's the only thing anyone on earth ever has to give up is fear. And it's artificially created, implanted in people without their permission. So what is underway now has to do with changing that for the first time. So this, how old is this? It is not comprised of DNA or molecules or atomic nuclear fission or explosions on the sun, nuclear material or atomic material. It is an energy behind and supporting all that. It cannot be destroyed by weapons or beings or negative powers or anything else. It's completely beyond that, operating bodies like the ones we have on Earth. The Atma that runs these bodies and feeds a certain energy to them to make them animate, to breathe, to walk, doesn't come from the brain and the body. The biology of the body does not run itself. That's impossible. A being runs a body, not the other way around. So if beings have been made to forget what they are and now they think they're one of these, they are as far down the scale and have fallen so far from the original place they started, they can't even get up enough awareness or courage to go back to where they began. And it's required of us that we go back to where we started. And that process and the way that it's protected when people cross paths with it makes it possible for people even living on Earth to not only recover what they are, but go back to that source and contribute themselves to the source. They don't become one with or dissolve into the one energy because they're individuals. The source energy itself is not an individual. It is a center and it's spherical, but it isn't an individual like us. We are like drops of a pure God energy, living in an ocean of the same energy. That's our true reality in the highest of realms, beyond the void known to Buddhists, most Buddhists. There are certain people and certain groups on earth that have the discipline to go there, but if they're taught there's nothing beyond the void, they will never imagine it and they will never go there. Because that omnipresent power out there, what they call divine spirit, is a co-creator with each of us as a sphere. And it depends on us to imagine uplifting beneficial things in it, because that one power collectively together, it's more than the sum of its parts. It manifests everything we imagine, good or bad or both. So we need to have the discipline or mastery and understanding and knowing ability awakened in us to only imagine that which will be beneficial to all life, and not just life limited to one planet. That won't cut it. That will not do it. We have to also understand and know life that exists in the grand multidimensional creation. As Atmas, we're capable of doing this. As brains and bodies in one life, we are not. I brought this up many times because it's true for me, but I also know it's true for other authors. People that have made movies and Star Wars, and Harry Potter's, and Lord of the Rings, and the Parallel Time Trilogy I've written, or the Savior's Agenda, which I've written, the screenplays that go with it. They're designed for feature film production. The books are all published worldwide, paperback, hardback, ebook. That's done. It took an entire lifetime to get that done. And it was only done at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. The last two books of the Parallel Time trilogy were published. The current books are all in 6x9 sizes. And no one should attempt to get one of these books unless they're this size. That's 6x9. Because the first book, when I published this, had a cover generically put together from the internet. And it was a smaller book, which nobody publishes anymore. And it did not have the special technique section in it that this has. So when they get it, they need to get it from Amazon, from the proper Amazon sales page, not from a secondary bookseller to try to scam you, because Amazon allows them to sell books they still have in stock, even if they're 5 years old and outdated. So you might pull up something, go to Amazon. If you go to the links at my website, they'll go right to the right link. You don't have to get fooled. When you go to Amazon and go to Amazon.com, you're going to see other sellers there saying, hey, buy this book. It's $35.95. That's a scam. These books don't cost that much. Anybody foolish enough to pay that is being swindled. If someone finds the old version of the book, don't get it. Get the one from Amazon. It's the only one they sell. Or get the ebook from iBooks, or get the ebook from Kindle, or get the hardback or paperback. Or if, when people order through a Thai bookstore, they get it from Ingram Spark, which is a distributor and print-on-demand publisher of 70% of the world's publishers that get books in bookstores around the world. Amazon does not do that. Amazon sells through the internet and has print-on-demand facilities around the world to print and sell the book, but they don't get them in bookstores. They're two different areas. So this is the right size. And if I don't take the time to say this now, maybe a lot of people will see this particular radio show video. See these sizes? First book of the Parallel Time trilogy. Second book of the Parallel Time trilogy. Third book of the Parallel Time trilogy. This one has more than 30 illustrations of key characters and scenes. Very well-defined black and white images. No publisher on earth would have ever spent the money to publish this book with images like this little guy in it. There's many, many illustrations in here. So I had to create a publishing company years ago, same as any other publisher, and publish these books because I was willing to spend quite a little bit of a fortune over the years to get these in the world without asking anybody else's permission, because most people are too afraid to work. To promote things that really make a change on earth, is most people are afraid to do it. The Lord of the Rings only got done as 3 movies by Peter Jackson because of a last-ditched effort he made to pitch this to the 2 CEOs of New Line, which was owned by Warner Brothers. They would never have funded such an expensive project if Ted Turner had owned or overseen as a CEO AOL, Time Warner at the time. And it was because of his insight to encourage them to make 3 movies that they got done, or they would never have been done. So there's always something that happens that is unexpected to get works off the ground, to change life for the better on this planet. They may do a little here, they may do a little there, but the real potential of books and filmmaking has barely been scratched so far. What it's really designed to do is to bring about a transformation on this planet. And that's what it's all been preparing to do. I want to share that with you, Perry.
Yes, if you all read this book, you will understand why we are here to trap on earth and why we are in fears. And this book also to help you to get out of fears, but you just have to read it and to understand and how to get rid of fears by reading this book. Not only this one, the trilogy books too. It helps you a lot.
Now, in that book there, you held up the Saver's Agenda.
Yeah.
You turn back and show them a page. You show them where the special technique section. Show them what it looks like, because this book is the only book on earth that has this.
Yeah, it's on the back of the
Hold
book.
hold it up, point it to the camera closer. No, that's chapter 4. Go to the beginning of it.
Oh, okay.
First page. See, there's a special technique involving the hue, the connection directly to that source energy. That's for the prologue and a separate one for each of the 29 chapters. That's what it looks like. That's after you go through the journey. Then in the back of the book is a glossary of characters and terms. And extraterrestrial names and technologies are phonetically pronounced, which means in parentheses they show you how it sounds like, how to say it properly. Like Ambassador Sean Rawl, there's a way to pronounce it, and it's spelled a certain way. But if you want to understand how it sounds, like the say rays is S-E-R-A-S, but it's pronounced as if it was spelled S-A-Y-R-A-Y-S, say rays. A. So this helps people to understand things that aren't on earth that they need to know to help them be free of fear. And the reason for this is because people on earth did not originate here.
Those who want to understand why you are trapped here on earth, I would highly recommend to read this book, okay, and to get rid of fears and go on many journeys that will help you change completely, but literally, step by step.
You know, for years I've been conducting private group journeys with about 10 people. Internet and Facebook and YouTube know nothing whatsoever about them, because they're privately recorded, and then the recordings of those journeys are sent to a few individuals who've had the courage and the tenacity to want to go on journeys out of their body and recover what they were made to forget before they were born here. You can't do that by holding on to fear. It will not work. So I've never charged money for those journeys. I probably should have. I say it, but then I go, no, because the beings I work with off-world don't use money. So it's been a bit of a dilemma for me. I published these books, and this is important for people to know this. They may not understand it yet, but they will. These books were published as nonfiction in these categories: body, mind, spirit, UFOs, extraterrestrials. That's nonfiction. And fiction in the sense of action adventure, because I had to thread together the stories of my own past and my own experience in a way that will impart to them what really happened or is going to happen in a way they can understand on earth. So that's how they were published, and I'm allowed to publish them in those two categories simultaneously. I don't know if anybody else ever does that, but I did. And it was quite a dilemma to decide, because if I had published them as nonfiction, because of what's revealed in them, I would have to give everybody on Earth a spaceship ride and take them to Rexlam or take them somewhere. And I'm not authorized to do that. I don't have the power to do that. And the Galactic Alliance out there doesn't have enough ships to do that. So it's not practical. So I didn't want to get caught up in the impractical nature of people wanting answers from me that they aren't willing to do the work to lift a finger to get on their own. They can never, ever know anything on earth whatsoever with any certainty of confidence until they drop fear and become linked into a higher faculty and wake it up, called knowing direct perception. This involves daydreaming of the creative imagination, which, as I've mentioned, does not come from the human brain at all. So if anybody listening to this radio show that is supposed to work with me, financially or otherwise, because they're being prepared when they're out of their bodies at night, believe me, they are. It means that they have to do their contribution or their part to this work because they are knowingly aware that this is the best thing they can do with their life for their own benefit and the benefit of all life. There are a few individuals being prepared like this. Met one already. So this isn't about money or power or fame or fortune, because none of that means anything. You can't take any of that with you when the body stops working. None of it. Not a bit of it. Academy Awards, feature films, screenplays, books, none of it can go with the person who wrote them when they pass on from this life. They only take with them what they're aware of at the time the body stops. And if they're aware of fear of the present and future, and when they go out of the body, they're going to meet with situations and circumstances that are based in that arena, and that will compel them to reincarnate back on Earth or some other world with no memory again. This is what we're up against. What's available now through this work and from beings I work with who are not from Earth, not from this dimension even, was not available to people through what they call divine spirit, passed a little over 9 years ago when it started being introduced to this planet. It didn't originate on Earth. The hue did not originate on Earth. The first half of the word human didn't originate on Earth. Languages didn't originate on Earth. The races represented on Earth did not originate on this planet. Not all these variations in race could not have occurred on the land masses under one atmosphere and one gravitational field to create all these differences. That is quite impossible in evolution or any other way you talk about it. The races represented on Earth is unconscious, unaware of where their origins are now, originated out among the stars and other world systems, usually with a trinary sun system. 3 suns. Scientists on Earth today know that there are binary and trinary sun systems, 2 and 3 suns out there. Most of the stars out there are like that, not like our single sun. Has a different effect on a human life there than here. They don't have polar ice caps in those worlds. So I'm telling you the truth, but scientists haven't gone there. They don't know what the truth is. They haven't been there to see it for themselves. I have. I do it all the time. And beings that come to this world, 70 races, maybe more, they don't worry about the speed of light. There's no such limitation except the one people created on Earth in their ignorance, because they measured it by the way their physical eyes can determine it. There is no limit to the speed of light at all. Never was, never will be. So science on Earth is beginning to change, especially now that they know the Big Bang Theory is going out the window. Because as they go deeper into space, they realize there's things they're detecting that tell them that is not what happened. That's what's happening right now in scientific circles on this planet, in the PhD arenas that are not classified. So that's important. In order for people to expand an awareness of what they are that's running a body and not the body, they have to get in direct contact with that omnipresent energy that's out there in space. It runs through our atmosphere. It's in the water in our bodies. It's in the water in the oceans. It's that close to us, but it cannot consciously link with us unless we are imaginatively awakened enough to connect with it telepathically. It doesn't require that we pray to it. It requires that we imagine in it properly, and then it will manifest what we imagine. So when people pray, they're trying to imagine something they're praying about. That's good. But prayer by itself in that way, or belief, is only a beginning. It's a good one, but it needs to go from belief and faith to direct knowing experience. Because otherwise, individuals cannot become like Buddha or Christ or any of this. They cannot become like them and be responsible co-creators with the source, which is what this is all about. It's the only thing it's ever been about. So I bring this up in different ways from different dimensional realities and different ways that I speak about it in every radio show and every presentation. It comes out through me uniquely because when I'm connected to that one energy, that source energy, prime creator is what people from other worlds call it. People on Earth call it supreme being, but it's not a being that requests we worship it. If people put that on a pedestal so far away from them that they can never approach it, they're always, not worthy, or we don't have the ability to do that. The fact is that each Atma, the real being, can communicate directly with that source through its medium, this living omnipresent energy. More advanced races among the stars know how to do that. So they move in respect, they move that energy through the devices they create to go across the systems much faster than the speed of light as is known on Earth, without even using energy or polluting anything. What do you think about that? And that is ancient old technology out beyond Earth. It's not new. It's not new at all. So when people on Earth Politicians right now on earth and the religious beliefs they grew up with are compelling them, subconsciously compelling them to make decisions based on fear. And they sit there and understand there's a primary law of physics that says every action creates an equal and opposite reaction in space time. It means what we think and imagine goes out into the atmosphere of Earth, bounces off the ionosphere, and comes back to us. And so we are responsible for what we put out. So that hue becomes a teacher to teach us not to be negative and nasty and trying to dominate people. People do that because they're afraid if they don't do it to the whole world first, it'll be done to them. That's what Hitler thought. There are leaders on earth today that think just like he did. And unfortunately, that means they're trying to do something to be the big dog, the head honcho, to control the whole world. This will never take place. Their attempt in that direction will destroy all life here. The Atmas will not be destroyed, but their bodies will be gone, and they'll be responsible to clean that up. And they will not be able to escape it. So this work is trying to assist them to stop making decisions based on fear, because fear is negative, it's artificial, and it creates only negative results. No positive results can come from fear decisions. All the leaders of this planet are working from fear. The military generals are working from fear. It's completely backward and wrong. It cannot be a good outcome in the end from that. That's impossible. So this is where my work comes to the focus, the point that I'm making. For life to change on this planet in an uplifting, benevolent, unexpected way, we have to receive respectfully the help of vast numbers of beings from other worlds to come here and share their more advanced ways with us, which they don't even charge money for. This has been offered to leaders of this planet several times, and the leaders turned it down out of fear that aliens will come here and attack us. They were thinking like military tyrants. Basically, a tyrant is nobody other than someone who makes decisions based on fear that if he doesn't do something to other people first, they'll do it to him. This is not based on any practical evidence, not based on reality. That kind of thinking can destroy worlds, and it has in the past out there. What I went through to be aware of what I know now, the genius that comes through me comes from the one power. It's just that I cooperate fully with it, so it makes me appear very bright. But I know that the being I am, the genetic structure that is here on Earth, has been trained in a way to help people as a guide temporarily to acquire what they were made to forget. And that means that people need to understand what the subconscious mind is, that it is not part of who they really are, that it was artificially created, and this fear of terror of the future implanted in the artificially created domain in an energy field that surrounds the sphere they are and the body people call the aura. It's out here. People look through it, their imagination, and they see these terror. Don't you dare wake up or we'll eat you alive again. That kind of programming is subconscious in people on this planet. It affects their conscious decision making based on fear. That was implanted in people by tyrants in galactic history. Those tyrants are not on this earth anymore. They've been moved out of here, not by people on earth. And so we have the opportunity to get rid of this stuff. The knot is so tightly wound in people. It takes a very careful unraveling of that knot for a person to take a leap of, I don't want to say faith, a leap of courage beyond fear to recover what they were made to forget. That's it. The hue vibrates the pineal gland in the center of the human brain on Earth, on other beings elsewhere too, even in animals. If you look at the pineal gland and its structure, it's like it has this matrix on the inside of it and a liquid that is capable of seeing or knowing, bringing seeing and knowing back into the arena of your life on Earth. to enlighten this body here that learned none of this in any university from any religion on this planet. None of it. So people cannot be blamed for what they're doing. I mean, they're just out of control. They don't know who they are. They don't know how they got here. They go nuts. They go postal. They're making decisions based on fear. And that's only destructive. It can't be anything other than that. And it never will be anything other than that. So it's that needs to be neutralized on this planet in each and every single being. Leaders, political, religious, the populace, even the animals on this planet need a liberation that they're being suppressed under because of the way human beings behave toward each other and to animals and to all life. It's wrong. It's backwards. It doesn't make them divine at all. It makes them sadistic. And they think that's God's will and it's normal. It's not. This is the problem. People do what they do, learn from their predecessors, because they don't have any other choice. There's no other option they can find. Well, that's not exactly true anymore. The other option has been brought to this planet. And what was done to me was done to me to prevent me from ever being able to do what I'm doing right now, but I'm doing it anyway, aren't I? I'm completing a mission I started over 70 years ago. But that's a story you'll find out about in the Savior's Agenda. If you really want to know that story, you'll begin to understand your own story, right? Because you're put through it too. People have been put through it.
And I want to share this too. When we go on the journey, Ambassador Taurelian is going with us. And Ambassador Taurelian, that has to do with this book too. Please read this book and you can connect the dots, to understand.
Yeah, it was during my writing of this book, which took place after I had written the entire Parallel Time trilogy, and a screenplay called Who's Dreaming Me Anyway, Who's Dreaming Me Anyway, which is a light comedy, generally written as an image of Jim Carrey playing a part that could pull it off. Not saying he is, I'm not in contact with him, but that's how it was envisioned. These 4 books in that screenplay and the screenplays written for those books are designed for feature film development. In other words, I had to write the screenplay trilogy for the Parallel Time trilogy, The Emerald Doorway, Guardians of the Ancient One, and Journey to the Center of the Universe, as screenplays. They're 3-hour movies each, but I had to write them that way in order to, the only way I could visualize them, put them on Earth. Then I had to go through the great challenge of writing the deeper, more revealing books based on those screenplays. And then I had to rewrite the screenplays to match the books. It's backwards, I know, but it's the way things work with me. So after the Savior's Agenda was written, and during its writing, just past halfway, I met with Ambassador Taurelian. And this is how I came to know who he is and what he does. He's an 18-foot tall human, not from Earth, not even from our galaxy, who appeared one day after being vacant from the whole Sayray's race was not available to people in the Milky Way galaxy for more than 500,000 years, maybe longer. And he appeared one day in front of the Galactic Alliance Council, which is centered on a planet called Zitronami 1, near the galactic core of our Milky Way galaxy. 5,000 members represent over 450 million spacefaring worlds, which is a little under half of our galaxy. The Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds, as it's called in English. It is not a federation. There are federations outside, smaller groups outside of it that are part of it. But the overseeing governing council of our Milky Way galaxy is centered on Zitronami 1. The ships that they use to get around are cylindrical and disc-shaped, little scouts that come out of them 30 feet across, but the disc ones are very large, long. And they can move and turn 90-degree angles and go just like a scout craft. They have anti-gravitic fields around them, which is a field of energy generated. It has a toroidal structure from the source energy that surrounds it. It allows them to be part of the source energy, which is not gravitational. Therefore, it's anti-gravitational. It is pure energy that supports the construction of planets and moons and suns and stars, which are round. They are patterned after the image of their creators, collectively, spherical. There's a reason why they have that shape. Human bodies that walk around in atmospheres on planets do not have that shape. The human being is not a human body. No. It existed prior to the development of these forms and all forms out there in space and in other dimensions. When I send out the hue, Ambassador Trellian and some other master teachers that people on Earth don't know exist, probably never knew they existed at any time, most of whom, the most evolved ones, have never even stepped foot on Earth, but they're going to. And they'll do this with me. They are waiting outside of the planet's atmosphere. Why? Because the planet's atmosphere is saturated with negative thoughts and emotions. So we go out into the pure hue outside of Earth's atmosphere to get out of that. And we do this, and we get the help from certain beings that help every one of you that choose to go on this journey, who closes their eyes, lays down, or gets comfortable in a chair. And then imagine someone they love and respect, and they're grateful they are in their life, a person, place, or thing, but it has to be genuine. It means it's something that makes you smile inside. That opens a door in the pineal gland so that a ray of this golden white energy comes through into your brain, through your body, into the aura, the electromagnetic field, the toroidal field around your body. It comes into the sphere hovering above your body that most people are not aware that they are actually a sphere of energy, conscious, usually outside the body, looking at it, watching it, but they've been made to forget all this. So it's subconscious, and it should not be. Human beings are not meant to have a subconscious mind. These glasses. Corellian is human. He's 18 feet tall in the appearance of what he projects to show us, of what his body looked like when it was a solid body. Over 1 billion Earth years ago, the Ceres race evolved to the point, and not in our galaxy. And they dematerialized or broke down the genome of the DNA. They didn't destroy it, and stored it in one of the teardrops of these faculties that are in layers around the white core of their spherical being. So when they want to present a physical form, like he'll show us when we get out in space, he'll show you an energy projection that looks absolutely real, a human body about 36, 18 feet tall, because the Ceres humans were much taller than people on Earth. And they actually created some of their genomes, their DNA, in humans like people on Earth and other planets in many galaxies in both the physical and what we call the astral planes, a very, very long ancient time ago, which means human beings are very old. They are not a new evolution, and they did not evolve on Earth ever. Not from primordial swamp, not from an amoeba, not from a dinosaur or a bird or Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal. Those are extinct humanoid species. We did not come from them. We didn't come from monkeys. Human beings, if people want to know the source of human life, the original garden, if you will, they are going to have to go far out in the multidimensional universe to find it, because it's not on Earth, and it never was. All the different races on Earth represented here, the different skin colors and eye shapes and things like this, are representative of entire planetary systems revolving around trinary sun systems in our galaxy that have predominantly that type of human being as an example of life on those worlds. And they were brought to this planet over a very long period of time in one scenario or another and made unconscious. And they've been evolving or reincarnating over and over again on this planet. That is not normal. Certain master teachers have been working for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of years to try to get just a few people on earth out of that trap. And it's been damn difficult for them to do that. Until recently, they didn't have a new tool that they could implement in order to help people recover very quickly in a few short years. All that they were made to forget before they found themselves incarnated on this planet with little or no former memory intact. Imagine someone you love and respect, you're grateful they're in your life, person, place, or thing, but make sure it's genuine. There are men and women, Atmas. That's what people from other worlds call soul, Atma, atom of the source itself, spherical in nature. That can help each of you, when you close your eyes, to keep your fear of the present and future turned off temporarily, so you can get up above the atmosphere of Earth and begin to recover a much higher IQ and a much greater capability to understand and comprehend what I'm sharing with you. I will begin those shoes now, and they'll go up in tone because they're going to connect to different realities, different dimensions, so that we can follow that trail on our journey. Everybody knows daydreaming. Everybody does it. It's kind of an unconscious way that people imagine being somewhere else than where they are, on a ski trip on the weekend coming up when they get off work. If they're more advanced, other planets, other people, connecting with people. They're really operating outside their body when they imagine anything, like going to the store to get some food. You imagine it. You get in the car, you turn the key, you drive the car to the store, and you get the food. If the imagination isn't there first, you do not move. So daydreaming is a simple ability to look into the multidimensional creation through the omnipresent hue, what people call spirit, to see and know things with certainty. This is every single individual's capability once awakened. Fear distorts, doubt, and debate and arguing and negativity and all this stuff blocks or cuts off that ability to know and makes it belief or makes it, I don't know, it's theoretical. And that can keep people stuck forever. Nobody is teaching direct knowing perception on earth yet, other than through this work. I am not the one power behind creation. I'm a drop in a mighty ocean of it, just like all of you. But I know it. And it is my responsibility, in part, to assist others as they wake up enough courage to connect with me and others that I work with, not from Earth, so they can begin to make real change even while they're alive on this planet. The universe is vast. It isn't just the vastness of billions of galaxies and what we see through astronomical instruments. No. In the physical universe or plane or dimension alone, there are 144 parallel dimensions, each which have life and planets and suns and moons and other Earths different than the one you're aware of, in a higher molecular time rate and a higher molecular time rate, and they're all kept separate. The more advanced races can go and craft between these and have trade and associations with beings on all of 144 levels. Craft made of material things in the physical universe cannot traverse the barrier between the physical and what we call the emotional universe or the astral plane, where emotion moves all matter. On Earth, it's physical effort. The astral plane, it's emotion. As we go up in these higher heavens, different energies move different things. We get up into the causal plane, it's cause and effect. We get up the mental plane, it's pure instant thought. If we get up the etheric plane, it's more pure. It's a little bit of negativity mixed with positivity. And the whole purpose of being there is to get up the courage to leap across this barrier, this void, this cobalt blue energy, this pale blue energy that appears to some who reach that far as nothing's there. It's a void. It isn't. There are beings there. And that energy is pure hue. It has no negative nature. It's as a barrier between the lower dimensions of time and space and the first realm above that, the realm of the Atma, the original home or embarkation place we left long ago. And then there are many realities above that, all the way to what we call the ocean of sound and light, which is like a galaxy of stars spinning around a center in a huge, brilliant blue atmosphere. And those stars, nothing else there but this one source. And there is a void in the center of it, in an island, and a massive being, spherical, hovering there, which is what people, if you want to go to the true source, that's the supreme being. It is not an individual. We are teardrops or atoms or spheres made of it, from it. Collectively together makes up this source energy, which you can speak with, you can meet with it. That source never requested that we worship it, but we are required to respect it, know it, each other, and respect all life in the grand multidimensional creation in order to have freedom of being and be trusted with it. So down right now, imagine you are floating near the ceiling of your home. Just daydreaming. Every single night when you put the body into the trance state we call sleep, you leave the body. Even though you don't bring normally awareness of where you've been and what you've been doing, you come back and wake that body up in the morning. While you're gone, no one's home. Because you have the ability as the Atma to run a body at infinite distances without being in it, because what you are is not matter, space, and time. It is not limited by the speed of light or gravity or wormholes or black holes or anything else. And it is that one energy we are comprised of as individuals that the one omnipresent power is made of through the multidimensional universe. And we do have the ability to connect directly with it. This is the whole point of our existence. Imagine you are looking at your body from the ceiling. Just imagine it, daydream it. You look up, you can look right through the walls of your house and see the environment that surrounds you, whether it's day or night. It will be lit up like daylight. And that light comes from you, focusing like a spotlight on matter. And then imagine yourself at 10,000 feet looking down on you, hovering near the ceiling over your body. That means you are at 10,000 feet as a spherical being, looking at you also simultaneously hovering above that body. Because this is one of the characteristics and qualities or capabilities the Atma has. We are multidimensional capable beings. This is not futuristic. This is not something we will evolve into millions of years from now. No. It is what we are now that we've been made to forget about it. This needs to be recovered in people on Earth if they ever expect to evolve or wake up from their terrible amnesia and begin to do what they were meant to do, which is to be a trusted co-creator with the source behind all life. Of course, that's what it is. Then imagine being out in space. That's right. Out in space, looking at the planet Earth in the distance, with its polar ice caps and oceans and land, and the barren moon pockmarked from meteor crashes that hit it, no atmosphere to speak of, little gravitational field, and it circles Earth without turning on its axis at all. That is not normal. It's a technical impossibility for a moon to be completely still and not be moved at all by the gravitational pull of the Earth or the sun or the other planets. So that is artificial. And that's one of the things that has to be corrected about Earth, its moon, and the sun. That is being done and created and will be superimposed over the Earth and the moon as you know it one day, so that the moon will have an atmosphere and little rivers and mountains, and little lakes and little oceans, and it will turn on its axis as it should and revolve around the planet. As the moon is now, stuck. When you see the white side of a full moon, that just simply means that you're seeing it from the sun, going past the planet and hitting it and bouncing off of it and hitting you on Earth in North America, for instance. So it looks like a full moon. At that time, it pulls on the water in your bodies and the water in the ocean in ways that are non-unnatural, in ways that influence emotion. Some people become very erratic in a full moon. People that have learned to control their emotions and imagine constructively and positively have an uplifting experience during a full moon. This is the nature of it. Out in space, all of you that may go on this journey, Perry and I, and Torellian is standing in the middle of a circle of 12 or 14 beings. And then you see more starting to join the circle from different places on Earth, who you wouldn't even know could have the ability to come here. And Torellian is showing you a body 18 feet tall, looks like about 36 years of age, like a Greek god with slightly wavy blonde hair down to his shoulders, big crystal blue eyes, a kind of a white tunic gown on, bare feet, holding his two thumbs up with a sphere of golden white light on it, which comes from a much higher reality. And it's part of the hue that surrounds us. So you'll see yourself as a spherical being in a circle around Torellian. Above Torellian's head is Torellian. He's spherical, has a white core, brilliant, and a layer of teardrop shades around that's a yellow. And it goes through the spectrum of color. A larger, concentrically wider circle of teardrops goes from yellow to orange, then to red, then to green, then to blue, then to lavender, to violet, and a big golden halo around it. This is what we really look like. It is shown on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book for the first time on Earth. So if you want to really know what you look like, look at the front of that book. That is original artwork created for those books. The people portraying the characters on the books are actual actors in costume because they need to represent real people, real beings. Etma's on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway. You'll find out what he is. He's a Dren, 3 feet long. His tail glows like bright crystal opal in sunlight. Silica-based creature from a mostly water-covered world in our galaxy that had developed the ability to levitate and defy gravity and fly through the air as an organic creature. Photographic memories, they're telepathic, they have vocal cords, they're delightful, courageous to a fault, and exemplify the greatest qualities of human beings that aren't even known on Earth, and they're not even human. You'll find out about Etta and his wife, Din. They're master teachers here with us. But first, take a look at yourself. Look down and you'll see a body that looks just like you. About 36. Perfect, flawless, beautiful, handsome. I mean, whether you're male or female. Dressed nicely. Bare feet, standing in a white golden field of light that's everywhere around us, under our feet, between Turellian and Perry and I, standing to each side of him. There's a Master Ramu off in the circle, in the outer circle, standing there with a 6-foot-tall quartz crystal staff. It's a device. It's his trademark. He looks to be about 36-ish, swarthy skin, kind of a dark brown skin, black curly beard, short cropped and short curly cropped hair, in a maroon robe with a belt and sandals. Master Ramu. To the right in the circle is a Master Opelum from the planet Oceania, where Etta comes from. And he's about 6 foot tall, slightly grayed at the temple, jet black, smooth, shiny hair to his shoulders, emerald green eyes, and pale blue skin. He's human. He's got a uniform on, a single form-fitting thing that has a symbol on the right chest area of, a pyramid, a golden pyramid with a quartz cap, hovering over a silvery galaxy with 3 blue stars in triangular formation above the apex of the pyramid. It's a galactic alliance symbol. And this being has an immortalized body. It means that he has this body back in Oceania and it hasn't aged in 500,000 years or more. Turellian is showing you a body that they once had over 1 billion years ago. And then the whole race immortalized their bodies in a different way. They don't have the trouble of pushing around a body, having it eat and go to the bathroom. No, they manifest out of the hue that's around them. It fills this DNA structure, one of their capabilities, and manifests a form. You could even go up and touch him. And he will do this when necessary and then dissolve that body back into and store it. So they don't have the burden of pushing bodies around as we do. The form he's showing you is what his body looked like over 1 billion years ago. Master Opelum is showing you a body that he has on Oceania. It's made of energy. The body you have is made of pure energy. It looks human and physical, perfect, but it is made of energy. It's a projection from the white core of your being, and you are hovering above it. The white golden light that appears black in Hubble space telescope images is, to the Atma, is a white golden light. It's different than all the billions of stars in the galaxy you can see surrounding us. Big blue, hot white, young stars, big yellow suns, much bigger than ours, and yellow, big red planets and small red dwarfs, nearing the end of their life cycle. And most of those sun systems are binary and trinary. You can see them suspended in space, clear as day, and you can also see a white golden light that is surrounding, underneath, and everywhere, between everything. It goes out into space. It continues from the Milky Way to the Andromeda galaxy, our nearest neighbor. It goes out to other galaxies, and it goes up through the planes, right through the central core of the Milky Way galaxy, which is a shaft of white golden light running up and down continuously. And it is a doorway. It is how energy from a higher parallel dimension or a higher main primary dimension gets down here through these concentric generators we call the center of galaxies. There are beings called silent mentors that run the mechanics and hold all that in place. They do not normally have any interaction with individual beings like us. Out in space, you'll notice there's a humming sound under your feet like thunder, but it's not frightening, it's soothing. There's no lightning going off. And it's the sound of this white golden light as it makes that primary omnipresent sound throughout the 144 parallel dimensions of the physical universe. In the astral plane, it sounds, that 144 parallel dimensions sounds like crashing of ocean, that sound along a beach, continuous. The sounds change as they go up through the planes. Any of you ever begin to sing a single high note of a silvery flute playing a hauntingly beautiful melody, you will know that some part of you is experiencing that place which is beyond the void known to certain esoteric groups on Earth. It's coming from a place that has no negative and positive energy in it at all. It's pure positive. The universe was set up this way in the beginning. Every single individual Atma, or individual human being, was at the beginning before bodies were even created. So if you want to ask yourself how old you are, you cannot do this comparing it to time and space, as in 200 billion years. Those are relative terms to the age of the lower dimensions of time and space and have nothing to do with those places which have no time and space, no day and night, no planets, no moons, no suns, no stars. There are things created and floating in that energies on the different levels above the void, but they are held together by individual beings collaboratively to teach, to instruct, to help others become aware of their purpose for existing, which is to be a trustworthy, conscious co-creator with the source behind all life. And that goes for every single being living in the entire multidimensional creation, including animals, including plants, whole planets, atmospheres, bodies of oceans and water. H2O, hydrogen and oxygen are both gases until they're put together. It is a medium through which, is a telepathic medium through which beings from other worlds can be contacted, especially if it's properly charged. There are certain shamans, or I suppose tribal leaders in certain places on Earth that know how to communicate with large bodies of water. They know they did not originate on this planet. Dolphins and whales did not originate here either. Most of the plants and mammalian life, including humans, did not originate on Earth either. That missing history, going back 65 million years to the time the dinosaurs were made extinct, is missing in all of the lives of people on Earth, mostly missing. And it shouldn't be. Their existence out in the multi-dimensional universe, when they were incarnated or running bodies in other worlds, you would consider extraterrestrial, has been suppressed so that people can no longer remember where they come from. Earth is not typical of the other worlds in our galaxy. It has been particularly retarded in its evolution because until recently, the poles of Earth would flip over 180 degrees overnight every 100,000 years like clockwork. That's a violent affair, destroys most life on the planet. New continents rise from the seafloor and other ones sink, and then it starts all over again. Now, this is not typical of most of the other worlds out in our galaxy, where they've been allowed to evolve beings on those worlds for hundreds of millions of years. So Earth is, how do I put it? It was put out here in space. We are telepathically sharing with you the truth about these things that comes from the omnipresent source through the one medium, the one power, the one living energy we call the hue. Comes from the first half of the word human, hidden in plain sight. It only does one thing. There's 4 things you can do with the mouth of a human being. 4 sounds you can make, not 3. Ah, ooh, and hue. Hue, hue, ooh, hue. It does not involve the tongue. And it only vibrates the cranium or the pineal gland upward. Once you're made aware of this, it cannot be forgotten. It's clear that we should make a trip to the central governing world of our galaxy, one of them. There are actually 2. One in a little under half the galaxy is called Zetranami 1. Another one on the other side of the galaxy is called Zientranamon 1. And it's inhabited by beings, Zientranamus, that did not originate in the Milky Way. They're human-like. They're about 10 feet tall. You can see them standing beside Turelian now, a man and a woman, just behind Perry and myself and some others. And they're coming out forward and they're showing you what they look like. They have taller necks, longer arms and fingers and toes. They move eloquently like swans when they walk. And they have ivory-colored skin and silver hair like silver metal, shiny down to their shoulders, and violet eyes. And they're showing you the bodies they have back on their home world that were immortalized over 3.5 million years ago. They have not aged. This was done to their physical forms. It's different from what Turelian and the Say-Rays did. And they run a little over half of the planets in this galaxy. And the 2 organizations have recently begun to work in harmony together. So they way outnumber any little few tyrant races, and those people are being policed and kept from returning to the solar system where planet Earth is. They've been removed, not by people on Earth. Certain people on Earth have been told, in no uncertain terms, that they have a certain time period to effectively deliver true disclosure of life in the other worlds, or it will be done for them without their participation. That would make it very embarrassing for many leaders on this world right now to be exposed for what they've covered up when they don't have to do that. Only fear that they carry keeps them from doing it. They already know that most races that come to Earth are not tyrants, not going to bomb people and take things over. They've been shot at and lasered at, and weapons, reverse engineered extraterrestrial technology weapons shot at them, and yet they've never shot back. Not really. And you think that people on Earth would learn from this. If they'd wanted to take over the Earth, they could do it in 10 minutes. There wouldn't be anything anybody on Earth could do about it. They're not tyrants. That's not their purpose for coming to this planet. When more people finally wake up to this great truth, this world will be transformed. Turelian's pointing off in the distance in outer space, past the moon. You can see all the billions of stars of our galaxy, and you can see there's a white golden light everywhere. And we're going to collectively, Turelian's in the center, others are in a circle around it, like planets around the sun. And there's a group of master teachers, men and women, in a sphere, several thousand that surround us. And we're all going to move as a sphere of energy through this hue energy, blasting through space now, Turelian. We're all moving in a blur through an open vortex of blue-green luminous water. Looks like water, like a funnel, wide on one end, and then it widens out on the other. On the other side of it, you can see the Milky Way galaxy from above it, looking down. And there's a golden light being sent down to a specific planet, not in, but near the galactic core. What people call a black hole is not black at all. And as we approach this planet, we move right through this vortex. We start to approach the planet. You realize that you're looking down on a world that is 4 times bigger than planet Earth. It has beautiful oceans, glowing. You can see them glowing from space. Several continents on its surface, but no polar ice caps. And you can see 3 moons the size of Earth at different distances circling that planet with pyramids and domes and structures inside dome cities on those worlds that are alive with life. And then we can see how this solar system, this planet, is circling a trinary sun system, a big blue, white, hot, giant young star, a very much bigger yellow sun than ours, and a red dwarf out further. And this planetary system is moving in an orbit around all 3. The 2 smaller suns are moving in an orbit around the big one. It's the trinary sun system. And then we move down in the atmosphere of these pale blue, pink kind of clouds, and we come through the clouds until you're looking down on a type of a city. There's tall, thin, pyramidal shaped structures, spherical structures on tripod legs, octagonal structures, rectangular with curved edges and different kind of convexly shaped windows. You can see people in them. Lots of trees in nature and walkways and little rivers and little streams and lakes. And out in the distance, you can see a huge curve of a golden, luminous, sandy beach against a blue-green, luminous ocean. And you're looking down on a big dome in the center of this uncongested metropolis. There's no people living here. They work here. They live out in the countryside in big acreages in homes far enough apart from each other to give space and freedom of creativity. This big dome looks like white sandstone. No, that's not the kind of sparkly, but it's translucent. You can see through it. It's a big, elongated, curved dome. And you can look right through it and see there is a blue disc in the center of the floor and 15 tiers of white marble type levels, concentric circles going up higher and wider, and 5,000 white leather-like chairs with men and women and races from other worlds, not all human, humanoid, sitting in these chairs, wearing a white gown with a sash that's gold from the upper right shoulder to the lower hip. And they're standing to greet us because we're moving down to the top of the dome, hovering near the dome around Turelian. And Ramu's there, and Opelum, Etta and Din, some other master teachers, and a man and woman standing next to each one of you from the Galactic Alliance that are helping you keep fear of the present and future turned off back on Earth while you go on this journey for your benefit only. These members stand up and raise their right hand and place it over their chest and nod their head. Be wise if you did the same in return. Turelian is standing on the big blue stage disc, 18 feet tall, holding a big book about 4 feet long under his right arm. He takes it out and opens it. It floats in the air. It floats as a field of blue antigravitic light around it. And in the middle of the pages, you can see fiery letters moving. You can see this from up near the dome. And they're moving like Egyptian hieroglyphics. And you can't read them because they're dancing and moving like in lines on a page of a book. But that's not how you read this book. The Say Ray's agenda book channels an energy from above the void into the physical worlds and into this book. And Turelian is simply putting his hands out above it, and you see little beams of light darting from its pages up into the core, white core of each of you, and into the physical forms you have standing below it that look human, exactly like you, but perfect, made of energy. And so the awareness, the ability to comprehend the series agenda and what's revealed in it is being passed to you. Your IQ will go up tremendously. You will find this out by your own direct experience. Words are cheap. The Saber's Agenda and the techniques revealed in it, the Parallel Time Trilogy, these are works designed to be triggers, to be doorways to interdimensional reality, to recover knowing certainty. They aren't to mindlessly entertain people. They are entertaining, but that's not the purpose for why they exist on Earth today. The 5,000 members that represent 450 million plus spacefaring worlds on 144 parallel dimensions of the physical universe are represented here. And so when you go on this recorded journey, you will be given the right to meet with them. When Torellian first appeared before them, as he's done again for your benefit, you realize that it changed all those people instantly and made them more motivated to do something about intervening in Earth affairs to the point that, number one, they won't allow it to be destroyed in nuclear holocaust, and two, they're going to begin to make known to leaders and religious leaders and everybody else that they exist in the greater God beyond Earth. Now, this is underway. It cannot be reversed. Here in this dome, in this planet, where no negative emotions and thoughts exist in their atmosphere, you can't help but remember. And here you are hovering around Torellian, above this blue disk stage in this white dome, and you're out in space now looking down on the entire Milky Way galaxy from out in that white golden light. Nothing is there but this white golden light. And there's the Milky Way galaxy, and off to the left in the distance is our nearest galactic neighbor called Andromeda. The people there call that galaxy Cepharus. The Galactic Alliance Council respectfully refers to it as Cepharus, the distant wonder. There are beings from that galaxy working here now in harmony with the Galactic Alliance, as they have in the ancient past, to change things. You can see yourself hovering around Torellian in space, and there's Earth. We are instantly in direct projection back through the hue, vastly beyond the speed of any light nonsense. And we're hovering, looking at the ice rings of Saturn. And as you're looking at, not Saturn, I'm sorry, Earth, we're looking at Earth's ice rings, and then the planet changes before your eyes, and it becomes the Earth, but it's different now. It has no polar ice caps. It has a huge continent centered over the equator from the left to the right hemisphere we call Lemuria or Mu. It isn't the one that sank 100,000 years ago on Earth during the last polar flip. This planet does not have polar flips. On the other side of the planet, you can see right through this Earth and see another larger continent, 2/3 of Lemuria's size, called Atma. People refer to as Atlantis. These two continents and what is on this planet in a higher, third higher parallel dimension of the physical universe at a third higher parallel dimension time rate, molecular time rate, is a prototype. There are no negative emotions or imaginations in that atmosphere. The sun is in the distance, but the moon, circling the Earth, is alive with domed cities, has oceans and land and rivers and waterfalls and an oxygen atmosphere, and it is turning on its axis as it revolves around this Earth. Down on the surface of this continent, this big continent, down near the middle of the equator, near the South Pole, about a third of the way above it, is a upward curved, half moon bay shaped, emerald green beach glowing that you can see from space. And Torellian is darting, taking us all down there through the atmosphere until you suddenly look down and realize your bare feet are wiggling in glowing emerald green sand. And you look around you and you realize you are seeing a huge curved luminous green beach set against massive jungle trees. And out in the ocean is Torellian standing up to his knees. He's 18 foot tall, smiling at you. The water is blue-green and glowing, about a foot above the ocean waves. Inland, you can see a brown moss-covered path going straight back. As it rises through the jungle, it goes up into a dome, big dome, covering a type of a small city. And to the right is a single snow-capped mountain. 2/3 of the way towards the summit is a cavern opening with a waterfall cascading down its side, down a sheer cliff face. And it's glowing blue-green, and it disappears in a blue-green forest, the backside of that dome. And above that waterfall cavern is an oval tunnel with semi-spherical luminous lights leading down inside it. That goes through, it is a doorway between this higher Earth and the Earth we know of, where inside the Mount Shasta in Northern California is a extraterrestrial galactic alliance base built there in 1908. And if it hadn't been there, we would have all gone out in nuclear war long ago. So this mountain and this dome city, as we appear above it, several miles in the distance, you can see there are 3 golden-sided quartz-capped pyramids in a triangular formation near the back half of the dome towards the west, and they surround a long oval ivory-colored dome building about a third of the height of the pyramids. And out in the countryside, there's an oval blue-green lake and a semicircular mountains in a semicircle in the background, little miniature mountains, little waterfalls cascading down them, put there for the aesthetic pleasure of the people that work here. And in the countryside surrounding this oval lake are little white stone-like pathways and little ivory white dome buildings, individual dwellings. And we're standing on one of the paths looking at this oval lake, leads to it. The pyramids are in the far background. Those are scientific buildings where research is being done. And we see Opelum approaching with his right hand up, and he holds his hand up, and you see there are little webs between his fingers. He lifts his neck up, and he's got 3 little slits under his neck, slits. And these are gills, but you wouldn't know they're there unless he lifted his neck. And he has that beautiful jet black hair, very human-looking male, about 40, slightly grayed temples, emerald green eyes, pale blue skin. And he's showing you that that race, which is human, has Say-rays DNA in them, just like we do, can breathe underwater or on land, because Oceania, on the other side of the galaxy, is mostly water covered with a few islands near the equator. And they have dome cities with these pyramids on Oceania, on the islands, and transport vacuum-sealed tubes that go down at the bottom of the Oceanian Ocean, where they connect with other dome cities. This is where Etna did come from. The Drens come from a emptied out volcanic chute hundreds of millions of years ago, and they have self-contained ecosystems where they live, where they evolved to have anti-gravity flying abilities. As far as I know, the only known organic species that can do this. And so we are standing with our feet in this glowing emerald sand. You reach down with a hand, you pick it up, and you realize that these glowing things are little spheres of emerald. And inland, down this moss path to the left, is a clearing about, I don't know, maybe a mile inland. And to the left is a statue of a woman in a clearing of white marble floor. And there's a statue of a woman standing there about 10 feet tall with her hands up, with a glowing kind of an emerald green light, and you realize this is a device that's charging that beach. This green light in your hand, these little spheres go into your hands, which is made of energy, up through the top of your head and into the white core of your being hovering there, and then out to these layers of teardrop-shaped faculties, turning some of them on. That statue is the woman of the mated pair that run the planet Xeon-Turnomon 1 on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy. Inside this quartz polished statue, she has a gold band around her forehead and a downward pointing teardrop-shaped emerald crystal. When you look into her eyes, you realize you're looking at the woman herself, standing in a field of green energy. Everywhere it's green. And then suddenly you're inside the statue with Turellian in this field of green light, and her mate, a little bit taller, is standing next to her. 10 feet tall, longer necks, longer fingers, longer toes, longer torsos, silver-like hair, and violet eyes. And we'll go on a journey to their planet another time. But these are people that donate this technology to this particular Earth, and Turellian and other beings from the Galactic Alliance work in that dome city near the base of the western side of that mountain. And one day, that moon that's alive and full of atmosphere and turning on its axis will be used to duplicate such a moon around the Earth where you're familiar with. So now you're out in space looking at Earth, and you can see the polar ice caps again, and the barren moon, and the sun in the distance, and the billions of stars all around us. And then you're hovering above the ceiling where you live, looking down on your body. And you realize that there is a toroidal field of energy, looks like an electromagnetic field, same kind of shape as the one around planet Earth. And it's around the spherical form you are, hovering above your body. And you look down on the body, and there's another field, bigger than what people think the aura is, in a toroidal shape, which you can look up online, surrounding your physical form. And you're bringing the awareness of this journey into that field of energy and storing it there, not in your brain, storing in the field of energy through which you look through the eyes of the physical body. It's out around you, because this type of journey, the multidimensional understanding of it, cannot be stored in a human brain. That's not its purpose. That's not what a brain does. It does not imagine things. It does not have a motion picture camera projecting things for you to see on a picture screen between brain cells. No. And then that energy moves through you and goes out into the planet, into 3 pyramids that are stationed on Earth now and turned on. And there are people on Earth did not put them there. They're gigantic. They're pyramidal. They're in the bottom of 2 of the deepest locations in the oceans of Earth, and one inside a hollowed-out interior of a mountain in the Himalayas. They have a statue of a man standing in these fountains, white alabaster, about 15 feet wide. There's a golden shaft of white light coming down the statue, comes out through the palms of this being, which I'll describe for you. Bronzed skin, about 36, looks like he's from India, but he is not. Has a little white tunic dress from his waist down to his bare ankles. He's bare-chested, strong, perfectly formed. He has golden eyes and 2 gold bracelets on each of his upper arms. And there's a white golden light coming through his palms, filling the bowl. It pours down the sides in an even sheet, and then it pulses in waves out through the 4 sides of the pyramids. And it goes off planet and into the same thing, centered inside a pyramid, stationarily placed between 2 stable asteroids in the asteroid field in our solar system that now circles in the orbit of what was a planet at high speed around the sun, in an orbit between Mars and Jupiter. And it goes out into space. Eventually, it goes back to the core of the galaxy and back up into higher realities. So it's moving through us for our benefit, but it never stops moving. Now, when you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you for the journey, Scott. From this journey, you also mentioned the Master Ramu and Etta, and also Operum. I want you guys to notice how come we go on the journey to meet this master, with which they are here in the books as well. So they are real. They exist still now, till now.
In different forms on Earth and other places. The Parallel Time Trilogy is about extraterrestrial involvement, master-teacher involvement in Earth and our solar system, starting a little over 100,000 years before the poles flipped and destroyed what was Lemuria. Atlantis at the time was a big colony continent about 2/3 the size of Lemuria, center of the equator on the other side of the planet. They both were destroyed, except for a small volcanic island, and the new continental land masses rose up because the continents sank into the bottom, became the sea floor because of the polar flips. It's a physical polar flip, not just gravitation. The Emerald Doorway reveals why that happens and how. This is something that has recently been permanently stopped by those beings I mentioned that are silent mentors, mechanics of the universe. So that means no more polar flips for Earth. That doesn't mean people are free from the implants that have been done to them. What I mean by implants is not a chip under the skin. It's a terrorizing, subconsciously implanted program in that toroidal field that surrounds the being and the Earth body, through which you see the universe distorted. It's like a thing that says, don't you dare know who you are before you were born on Earth, or we'll kill you and eat you alive again. That kind of thing. It's artificial. It's that kind of subconscious stuff that needs to be brought into awareness so that it's nothing more than a memory and so that it no longer affects our decision making. Simple. Okay.
Many people on earth know about full disclosure that is coming. If you guys want to be one of the co-creators to make it happen faster, please read this book and you understand. You will understand how can you be involved in this full disclosure.
Thanks, Barry. It's basically about providing you with the tools and the awareness and the experience of dropping fear so that you can know things with certainty. That's the reason for my work. It's the only reason for it being on Earth at this time. So, but these are just words. So what's important to me is that you have your own experiences to know this for yourself, from yourself, within yourself, without doubt or uncertainty. Okay.
Also, people can go check on your website under this video. So you have many very interesting videos there too.
There's no charge for them. There's a place at the main website at paralleltime.com called About You-Scott. And there are 2 recordings of my voice sending out the hue in 3-part harmony. One sends it out and pauses and sends it out and pauses. The other one is looped so that the hue is continuous and you can hear a single golden thread of it running through the middle of that continuous almost 24-minute recording. And you can go there, it's free, and play the hue and put your own hue with it. Start to imagine, go on one of these journeys, listen to the hue for a while, then play one of the recordings back and go on the journey. That's what I would recommend.
Okay, so everyone, thank you for watching. Please thumb up, subscribe, and share this video to benefit you and others. And thank you, Scott Lemrell, for being here with us every week.
Thank you, Perry, for having the courage to do it. It takes courage.
Yes,
I
everyone.
will say all to you, there will be my YouTube channel, the paralleltime.com website, the main website. There are 4 actually. And then there'll be the Facebook page too. So you can click on any of those and go explore to your heart's content. I will say to all of you, thank you, Perry, and I'll see you all later.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.